you know, it was expediency that we used the sort of the video of well, there were two reasons for using the video of school this morning. One was expediency, but the other was I really wanted to demonstrate a setting which met the sort of metrics that we are aiming at. You know, highest, top 3% of deprivation, but the highest results. You know, but now I think what I'd like us to do is to think about using videos of our own work, you know, increasingly, so that we can reflect on that practice. So I know, Lilina, that you said you would try and find resource for filming.
Yeah, look, if there's any school that would be happy a film crew to come in and to film their journey and to, go into classrooms and to, I guess, have a bit of a narrative of what's going on in their school, I'm sure that I could find some money to support that, and as long as you're prepared to.
What we want to do is to make this very, very, quite focused. All right, we want to try to use it to build the practice. So we'd try and find, we'd try to negotiate with you what it was they were looking at, so we can then sort of scrutinise it afterwards. But I think that would be a good way to continue on this work. Anyway, the next two very quickly are establishing disciplined learning and consistent staff behaviour. Now, that's quite deliberate, all right? We haven't separated out behaviour of students from behaviour of staff, because in many ways the two are interlinked, all right? We get in some of our schools we have youngsters who actually do present very significant and quite sort of disruptive behaviour problems. We can deal with that through different means. I'm more worried about the sort of the low-level disruption, which is very, very wearing on the part of teachers, but is often the consequence of poor teacher behaviour inside the classroom, or inconsistent teacher behaviour. So I think there is a link between, sort of disciplined learning and consistent staff behaviour. Initially, one does need to, most probably, to place a strong emphasis on behaviour, but always, if you do that, use positive behaviour policies, positive behaviour programs, because that will continue to build the culture and the ethos you want inside the school. If you put in negative behaviour policies there and too many overt sanctions, it may give you the result in the short term, but doesn't build the culture into the medium term. I do think that consistency of staff behaviour, certainly the schools that are very high performing, a high degree of professional pride that staff take, and that behaviour is pretty consistent, And I haven't always seen that in some of the schools I've seen in this project. And then the top one here is about the strong work ethic, but of course that comes out of these other two factors. Now, those are some of the things we see in high-performing schools in this area. I'm sure you've got others to add. And then assuring the quality of teaching and learning. Well, we talked a lot about the monitoring and evaluation, the amount of time that Trish spent in her school. But also, it's no point in just spending the time unless it's productively used. If you're just sort of giving staff marks out of 10, then we're not building the professional practice. So schools are very clear about what they mean by good practice. Develops from inside the school. It's consistently done. And this point here about finding time for staff to work in teams is really important. That's part of the reciprocity. Talk more about that. So, have you got anything else to add in terms of your own practice in that area or in that area there? So 5 minutes on that, please, if you will.